Where's the best place to go if you want to cover yourself from the rain? Mount Hood. It's right there! Subscribe for more comedy, yay! I've not been online for quite some time, and the reason why is I actually ran out of PS Plus for the whole year membership that I have, which actually means that I've been officially playing PS4 with over a year, which is pretty darn insane, and just, it's awesome how much stuff we've gotten done and how much I enjoy the PS4 and stuff like that. But I ran out of PS Plus, and I decided not to get it for another week because I was actually going out of town, which is why I'm talking about traveling, TSA, I think that's what it's called. Wait, what does TSA actually mean? Transport Security Administration. That's what TSA means. Fun fact of the day. I'm going to talk about all that stuff, traveling and stuff. I'm not really going to get into specific things on what I did on the trip. If you're talking to me personally, like online, then I'll explain. Basically, I went to Denver, Colorado for some medical stuff. Everything went well, so don't worry, it's nothing huge. But I went there for some medical stuff. It wasn't necessarily for fun and enjoyment and stuff like that. So that's another reason why I haven't been online that much. But I wanted to talk about how the trip went, mainly the security thing. So as most of you may already know, I'm actually 18, which means I'm legally an adult in the United States. However, the past times that I've traveled, which was I think like 6 months ago, I've always been able to use my school ID card because it's something issued by the government and stuff. However, I was 17 last time I used it because 6 months ago I was 17. Anyways though, I went to the TSA pre-check thing or whatever you call it, where they like check your boarding pass and your ID to make sure it's you. And I gave them my ID, and the guy looked at it and said, "How old are you? When's your birthday?" And then I said, my birthday. He's just like, "Yeah, I don't know if this works because you're 18. I'm just like, "Oh no, does that mean I can't get on the plane?" And then he said, "Well, hang on 1 second." So he called another agent over, and then another agent, and there were two. And this guy ended up taking my ID to the back or something. I don't know where he went with it, and I don't know what he did with it. And my first thought process is, what if he Googles my name and finds my YouTube channel? What would he react if my name was Lifestealer58 and I was literally getting on a flight? How would he feel about that? And another question is, if he does find my YouTube channel, will he actually subscribe? Honestly, I don't know what he did with my ID, but the guy who first looked at my ID and said, "Yeah, I don't know if you can use this," something along the lines of that, mentioned if I had anything else, like a driver's license or something for maybe a job or anything. And for those of you who don't know, I am 18, yet I don't have my driver's permit or driver's license, and the reason why is every place that I go, I can walk to. Like, the furthest thing I would need to go, and I rarely need to go there, is probably about a mile, and I personally love walking, rain, shine, or anything, because I just enjoy the activity, and it doesn't bother me, and I just wouldn't utilize a driver's license that much, but now after this, I feel like I kind of need to have a second identification thing. Well, this guy kept on asking questions about things I had, the agent, by this guy is what I mean, and then he's just like, "Yeah, or you could have a school ID." I'm just like, that was my school ID, and he's like, "Oh, well, then never mind, something else." I'm just like, why would you bring up my school ID if I literally gave you that? It was just really, really weird. So, eventually the agents came back and said, "Okay, you're good to go," and then they said that I would need to get a pat down, and I was like, really? And for those of you who don't know what a pat down is, basically an agent, TSA police officer, I don't know what they call it, I'm just going to say TSA agent, basically pats down your whole body from your head to your toes to see if you're hiding any weapons or anything bad to basically harm someone with. And I was like, why do I need a pat down? Like, can't you just scan my items or scan my body? I personally don't care, because obviously I care about the safety of my country or anyone, then, because while I'm a trustworthy person, because I know myself, the TSA agents don't know that, I could be someone sketchy. They don't know that. So, I put my stuff on the conveyor belt where they scan my bags and stuff. Nothing went wrong. And then I went through the thing that detects if there's anything on your body. And then 3 things went off on my body. 3 things. And the guy said, "Do you have anything in your back pockets?" I'm just like, I don't even have pockets on this. All I was wearing was sweatpants, and I wear sweatpants to the airport just because if I'm going to sit on an uncomfortable flight, I at least want to be comfortable, and sweatpants are heavenly. And I was wearing a tight V-neck shirt. If I did have something harmful on like my chest, because this is where it appeared, then it would be very visible. But the spots that triggered the the alarm system, or whatever you want to call it. One was on, I think, my left butt cheek, which, again, nothing was there because I didn't have any back pockets or anything. It's not like I accidentally left something there. My lower left back and my upper right back, kind of close to my shoulder. And you could tell by the V-neck, because it was tight, that nothing was on me, but they still needed to give a pat down. And I literally thought, I am going to get arrested today. I don't have a very valid, according to TSA agents, very valid identification. The alarm security thing went off, and they're giving me a pat down. So I legit thought I was not going to get on the flight. It took like 20 minutes to get through, 20 extra minutes, I should say, to get through security. And I was actually genuinely kind of concerned, because it would have been terrible if I were to miss my flight and not be able to go to things I had scheduled for probably months in advance. So, I went through, the guy gave me a pat down, he explained everything, and then he basically just said, all I do is put my hands, around your body, feel if you're hiding anything, etc., make sure everything's safe. And he said, whenever it comes to your buttocks, this is around pretty much what he said. This is pretty much what he said. Whenever I get to your buttocks, I will use the back of my hand, and whenever I reach your groin area, I'll use the back of my hand. And my thought process is like, what does it matter? You're still touching those areas. It's like if you use your backhand, it's somehow safer or makes me feel less uncomfortable. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who say, oh, thank goodness this person's using the back of their hand. But honestly, to me, it's just like, it was the weirdest thing ever that he used his backhand, because you're still touching the area. Honestly, all the TSA agents were actually super duper nice and calm about it. I thought, they would get upset or anything or get impatient, but they were as nice as they could possibly be. I was amazed by them. And then he also had needed to use a slow machine to scan the inside of my suitcase and my backpack. I was there for a long time. And, the TSA agent was even nice and was like, do you want to go somewhere private where we can do the pat down, etc., etc.? And I'm just like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. And I'm very, very, very happy that I didn't need to strip down or anything, because while it would have been a show for everyone else that would have enjoyed it, for me it would have been a little uncomfortable, but it could have been a lot worse. But yeah, I managed to get through, thankfully, and that was an absolute nightmare. And then I asked one of the security guards or TSA agents, do I need to do this whenever I come home from Denver back to Portland? And then they said, yes, you'll need to do something very similar. I'm just like, oh geez, okay. So I managed to get on the flight. Everything went smoothly on the flight. Nothing went wrong after the security. Everything went perfectly well. Actually, the whole trip honestly went as good as it could have gone, I believe. It was very, very, I can't think of one problem that was huge or that delayed anything. So thank goodness that is the way it worked out. But after we landed in Denver, after the long flight, I said thank you to the flight stewardess, because she was there at the exit. And I'm not kidding you. She said, see you later, kiddo. Kiddo. Now, I'm not offended by necessarily being called a kid, but I don't know if I look like an adult, but I find it absolutely hilarious that TSA agents needed to do a pat down on me, needed to do a thorough security check on my items because I was 18, aka legally an adult, and this flight stewardess called me a kiddo. And again, I'm not bothered by it, I just find it hilarious, and I know I may not look like an adult. I really wish, it sounds like this where I do actually wish I revealed my face, that way you guys can say, oh, you do look like an adult, or you do look like a kid. I'm not sure if I look like an adult, but I for sure can guarantee you I do not look like a kid, because of just my weight, my height, my appearance. I didn't shave right before, so I even had a little bit of a beard. It wasn't much, but I promise you, no kids can grow the size of beard that I had on that day. Anyways, though, I just find it hilarious that I was stuck for an extra 20 minutes probably for the TSA agents, and then all of a sudden leaving the plane, I got called kiddo, and I was just like, oh brother, this is nice. I feel very happy with everything right now. Anyways, though, nothing really interesting to report on the trip. I do want to say one thing, though. There's 3 things I noticed that's completely different about Denver compared to Portland. One is there is no diversity of people or races in Denver. I literally only saw Mexicans, white people. I don't know if you even call white people. I would say Americans, but to me, an American is someone that's actually born in America, regardless of race. So I'm just gonna call them white people, and African American people. Those are literally the only 3 races. I saw probably one Indian man there as well. However, in Portland, you get any type of race, even imaginable. And what's really interesting is there's this place called Costco. Costco is basically like a giant warehouse with deals that you can get on big portions of food, I guess. Like, instead of buying one cereal box for like mini frosted wheats, you buy like 3 in a pack. It's really good deals and stuff like that. However, I usually, whenever I go to Costco, hear people speaking every other language except English, because there's that much diversity, which I think is absolutely awesome. I think it's really cool for a state to have that much diversity, and Portland definitely does. However, I was just shocked by Colorado because that's literally all I saw. I only saw 3 races the whole time, and it was just so puzzling to me because I never really put it together. Another thing that's weird about Colorado is it's like it wants to be Portland with like the green and stuff, but it feels like Arizona because it just looks like everything's dead, like the grass and all. And another thing is, in Portland you have a lot of trees, therefore a lot of birds and stuff. I only saw 1 bird that whole time I was in that area, which was also weird, and there were barely any trees. So just the whole Denver area was very, very interesting compared to Portland. That's the only interesting thing I have to report on the trip that I've noticed. Also, what's really interesting to me is I didn't see a single person in Denver supporting their teams, like the Denver Broncos or the Colorado Rockies, like their baseball or football teams or anything like that. And I was shocked because Portland is extremely supportive of their teams. I always see Timber shirts, I always see Blazers shirts or hats and stuff like that, and it's mind-blowing. But I didn't see a single fan support, I guess, of Denver teams, which is really surprising to me considering Denver teams are generally pretty good. At least I personally believe the Broncos are pretty good. And another thing that also fascinated me is Portland, for whatever reason, has a lot of people who have a lot of tattoos and dyed hair, and I only saw 1 person with dyed hair in Denver, and I didn't see any tattoos on literally anyone, which was also really, really weird to me. However, I'll get back to another reason why I'm bringing the dyed hair and sport shirts and all that stuff in a minute. But that's basically the only interesting thing that happened on the trip. So then came the last day on there where I needed to go to the Denver airport, which, by the way, is absolutely ginormous. I don't know at the top of my head the size, but I'll put a screenshot if I can figure out the size of the Denver airport. It is ginormous. It is literally so big that they have trains going to specific gates throughout the airport. It is mind-blowingly large. So with the larger airport and Colorado being a pretty fast-growing state, I guess, the security line is so massive. Like it's shocking how packed the airport security is, and with people, getting their bags checked and all that stuff. I'll try and also put a screenshot of what it looks like in hopes to give you guys a visual representation. No promises on that because I know that's probably not even possible to find, but who knows. But it was just packed, and I thought back to the TSA agents at Portland, because Portland's a lot smaller than the Denver airport, and I just thought, this is going to take forever. I bet these people are going to be extremely rude because they're probably stressed out with all the people and stuff. So I went over there, gave them my boarding pass, gave them my ID. The guy said, "Are you 18?" I'm just like, oh, here we go, let the fun begin. And then I said yes, and he says, "Do you have anything else with your card?" And then I said, "I have an insurance card, and I have some bills with my name on them that I paid for in Denver." Oh, by the way, I also needed to show the security people at Portland my insurance cards because they asked for it. I just forgot to mention it, so they did ask for that. But the TSA agent called someone with higher authority, another TSA agent, I assume, and then the guy walked over, quickly glanced at my ID and said, "Okay, you're good to go." I'm just like, wait, what? They literally just checked my ID and my insurance card, and they let me go. I didn't need to do a pat down. I didn't need to ask questions or anything, and it took a minute extra out of the security thing. And then I put my bags in there, and I purposely wore different clothes so the alarm wouldn't be triggered again, because I don't know what triggered it, because it's not like I had any metal on my shirts or anything in Portland. But I did the thing, and the alarm did go off, but it was around my neck area, which was really weird. And after that, the TSA agent said, "Do you have any necklace or anything on?" And I said nope. And then he felt my chest to see if I was hiding any weapons or anything, and he said, "Okay, have a nice day," and I was free to go. It shocked me how low-key Denver was compared to Portland, and the fact that everyone was also super nice there too. I was shocked. Every single airport, I didn't run into like one mean worker. And other years that I've gone there, they've been extremely rude and extremely like impatient and stuff. So I was amazed and very appreciative of everyone that helped me. What's really sad about this whole experience is that I've gotten more action from a TSA agent than I have with any relationship that I've been in. Again, I don't mind the pat downs and stuff as long as for security measures. Of course, I'm not comfortable with it. It's not like, oh yeah, I love, people feeling my body. That sounds really, really weird and disgusting. But for security reasons, I understand why they do it, and I fully respect and will accommodate to whatever they need to be done for them to trust me, basically. So I'm very thankful though that everything worked out, and especially the Denver just was hilarious to me because literally he just glanced at it and was like, okay, you're good to go. I was like, okay, this is nice. What's also funny is another TSA agent, like 3 of them started walking up to me, and one of them had a big smile on their face. I'm like, oh my gosh, someone who actually knows me from YouTube. I didn't actually think that. I just thought that would be kind of amusing if that was the case. And he's just like, oh, are you by any chance related to Peter Smith? Please note that I don't know if that's the name that he said, but it was a very generic name that I never heard of. I'm just like, no, I'm not. And he said, oh, wow, you look just like him. If I put a picture of you and a picture of Peter Smith right next to each other, it would look the exact same. I'm just like, oh, wow, I would love to meet him one day then. I mean, I didn't really know how to respond to that because it was just so random and out of the blue, and I was horrified that I was going to get another pat down again and feel violated, and I was horrified that they were going to touch my groin parts with the back of their hands, like, ugh. No, I wasn't terrified of them coming. It was just very out of the blue, like, oh, okay. And then after that, we waited for many hours because we actually went earlier to the airport because of the security thing. I was thinking it was going to take another like hour because of how crowded the Denver airport was with and doing the pat down and security and all that stuff. But thankfully, I didn't need to go through it. Anyways, though, I got on the flight, and it was a full flight, and what's funny, here's why I'm bringing up the dyed hair and shirts, this is why I'm bringing it up. Whenever I got on that flight, I instantly recognized the Portland people, because 1, they were either they had tattoos, 2, they had dyed hair, or 3, they had supportive gear of their sports teams. I saw a Timbers shirt, which is the Portland soccer team, and I saw the Trailblazers, which is the Portland basketball team. I don't know why it took me so long to recognize what Portland Trailblazers were. Instantly knew that these people were from Portland, and it was so easy to recognize them. Also, there was so much diversity even in the Portland airport compared to the Denver airport. It was mind-blowing. It took quite a long time to take off. I think it was like 15 to 20 minutes late taking off, and that's because they said flights from New York arrived a little late, and I'm not sure 100% sure of this, but I believe the New York ones arrived late because there was terrible snow in the east. That's what I believe, and that's what I heard. I'm not sure if that's the reason though. That's an assumption, not a fact. So we waited, and we finally got on. It was a completely full flight. Every seat was taken. The bins above you where you store your suitcases were all filled up. Like, it was an insanely packed flight. And I don't usually get concerned flying. I've never once been scared of flying, but this flight terrified me at the beginning because it took us forever to get off the air, like up into the cloud level. And by the time that we took off just a little bit, this plane probably took a 130 degree turn, and it just felt like really sketchy and just looked really weird because why would you take off then immediately turn like right after? It's a really weird thing. You would think you would position yourself on a runway, and maybe the pilot couldn't. Obviously, he probably couldn't, but maybe, you think you would position yourself at the right angle and maybe do a slight turn, But it was really weird. And not just that, I was sitting on a window seat right in front of the wings plane, or right on the side of the plane of the wings plane. Now I can't talk. And I thought, oh, this is cool because I will get to see kind of how the wings adapt to the air and how they turn left and stuff like that. I was really excited to look at the wings and stuff because it's just, you don't get to see that every day. And well, I was super duper excited about seeing it, but then I was absolutely horrified because that wing wobbled so much whenever we were taking off, like an unbelievable amount. It looked like I don't know what they call it, I just know it's called a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, just because of reference from Family Guy. I honestly don't know what it's called, but it's one of those things that blow air, then they like shake their hands or whatever. I'll show a picture of what I'm talking about. But that's basically what it looked like to me. I'm exaggerating, I know, but like it was so unbelievably wobbly, and I could not get over how like crazy it felt. Also, the whole flight, my window was literally rattling the whole time. It sounded like it was gonna explode or something. It was so annoying to hear that rattle the whole time. And taking off, the sounds that you heard were super duper weird. And whenever the pilot was still taking off, you could feel the plane just like occasionally drop. You know how if you're on a roller coaster, you kind of get like butterflies in your stomach. I was getting that so much at the beginning of the flight because it just kept on dropping. It's like the plane couldn't handle the weight that was on the plane. I honestly was legitimately scared. And I act like a thug. I act like I live in the Mount Hood. By the way, that's why you're looking at this picture. It's a picture that I actually took on the plane. That's the exact seat that I was sitting, and that's the wing and stuff I was talking about. But that wing, absolutely terrifying. But anyways, I act like I'm tough and nonchalant about it, but on the inside, I'm just like, I'm horrified. I'm more terrified of this than getting a pat down by a TSA agent. But thankfully, everything was alright. We landed. Everything went well after that. And then I sat in traffic for about like an hour and a half, whenever it should have probably only taken us like 30 minutes to get back without traffic. So yeah, that was fun. Portland literally is turning into LA with rush hour traffic, basically. There's so much traffic in this area. It's kind of insane because so many people are moving here. Well, that's my story of why I haven't been on and my TSA agent experience and flight experience. Fun stories, I know. Anyways, though, I'm hoping to start playing soon. I feel like I say that a lot, but I honestly had a legitimate reason. I ran out of PlayStation Plus, which costs money, and I also was out of town, so even if I did pay for PlayStation Plus, I literally could not have played. So, anyways, thank you all so much for listening / watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you later. Bye!